Man, as a kid, nothing got you as pumped as much as the original Pokemon intro. Just listen to it. After hearing this thing, of course all you'd want to do is catch Pokemon. And today I'm going to be doing just that. Pokemon. The game where you get to trap hapless animals in inescapable devices called Pokeballs so that you can force them to do your bidding. This takes shape in the form of battles. It's kind of like dogfights for kids, but you know, packaged in a fun way. Pokemon Yellow is the Pikachu-centric version of the series, an enhanced version of Pokemon Red and Blue, which is loosely based on the anime show. Yellow version was released towards the end of the Game Boy's life cycle. Hell, by 1998, the PS1 had already been out for 4 years, the N64 for 2, and 4th generation consoles like the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo were long gone, or knocking on death's door, despite the fact the latter is shown to be hooked up in Ash's house. It's a little bit puzzling really, but the game was released to coincide with the first Pokemon movie, which doesn't really make sense either, since Pokemon Gold and Silver were to be released in '99. But the world is a weird place, and with the equally weird concept of forcing helpless animals to fight one another until they are knocked out or faint, brain damage, I will overlook the dubious nature of it all and take a look at the Pokemon game that has been lauded as a fan favorite. At the time of writing this episode, it occurs to me that Yellow version is the only Pokemon game I've actually ever played. That in itself probably sounds insane, but by the time my sister, had gotten a hold of a Game Boy, we were well into the Genesis era. Hey, I'm a Sega kid. But while I had moved on beyond the Sega Genesis now, it's worth noting that my sister still has that Game Boy, and that Pokemon Yellow cart. Now, given the well-known limitations of the original Game Boy hardware, you'd be forgiven for thinking that the only games the handheld could manage would be short, simplistic ones. So it really is a wonder that Nintendo managed to fit a game like this onto a cart that only held a maximum of 4 megabytes, but produces a game that has a 28-hour main campaign. That is mighty impressive. Pokemon Yellow's cutesy demeanor also masks the fact that the game isn't exactly a walk in the park. By no means is this a complicated game. NPCs are extremely limited by what they can do and say, and the world, while large, is fairly linear in comparison to games of this ilk. It also helps that each town has a Poké Center where you can heal up all your Pokemon back to full health for free. But you'll be required to level up or grind your Pokemon to some degree and make good decisions in choosing which one to use at which time, because let me tell you, Brock's Geodude kicked Pikachu's ass. Yeah, electric types, pretty fucking weak against rock types. So off I went to the nearest field to level up Pikachu, and among the countless Pidgeots and rat burglars I found a Nidoran, which as it so happens is the perfect weapon against Brock's rock types. 30 minutes of grinding awarded me the double Kickapoo, which enabled me to beat the shit out of Brock and claim this sweet boulder badge as proof of my manly dominance over the hapless pewter gym leader. Suck it, punk! Apart from battling gym leaders for badges, you'll encounter random battles whenever you walk over the long grass in the world. Don't want to engage in random battles? Then all you have to do is... Don't go into the long grass! You'll also face off against other lesser trainers who litter the landscape like trash, just waiting for a battle. They say stupid shit, but some of them have cool Pokemon which you may not encounter in the wild at that time, such as this Ekans, which I try to trap, only to be told that I mustn't be a thief. What? You can't blame me for trying, I didn't know what was going to happen. There are 8 gym leaders to defeat in total, and each time you beat one you'll receive a technical machine known as a TM, that can be given to Pokemon in order to learn new moves, but use them wisely as they're single-use items. Whether or not I'll actually defeat them all remains to be seen. Time-wise, Pokemon Yellow is extremely demanding, and there are many other Pokemon games that offer a lot more for your time. Given that most of the games are built on the framework of exploring towns, having battles, and defeating Pokemon, in a case like this, looking towards newer titles on say the Game Boy Advance or DS may be a far more rewarding use of your time. Now, that might sound strange since I choose to spend a lot of my gaming time steeped in the past, and this is a retro gaming channel after all, but those are simply the facts. Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire look fantastic on the GBA, so I'll definitely check those out sometime in the future. Besides, both those games were released almost 2 decades ago, so they count as retro titles, right? Visually, Pokemon Yellow is pretty damn impressive. Large open areas that are easily distinguishable from the next, varied towns, and large pleasing sprites make the game a joy to play. The Pokemon themselves have been beautifully recreated on the Game Boy hardware, especially when battling as they are large and detailed, and the various battle animations, menus, and encounters you have are all nicely animated. The Game Boy does a stellar job of recreating the Pokemon experience in the very same way that Red and Blue did, which, if you've played those titles, happens to be a common criticism of Yellow. The enhanced Yellow version is just too similar to Red and Blue, so if like me you never played those two, then the Pokemon Yellow experience would be undoubtedly far more enjoyable. I must also just commend Junichi Masuda for Pokemon Yellow's soundtrack, consisting of complex 8-bit tunes and memorable tracks that will have you humming along as you play the game. Hell, maybe even after you're playing the game. The soundtrack is pretty damn tasty to say the least. So the million-dollar question remains, is Pokemon Yellow version still good today? Yes, it is. Despite being overly similar to Red and Blue, Yellow stands on its own as a great game, especially if you haven't played Red and Blue. There's lots to do here in this addictive little game, and there's nothing quite like beating those gym leaders and getting those badges. Despite there being more superior titles in the Pokemon franchise that were released around the same time, if you insist on playing through the original Game Boy's roster of titles, you can't go wrong with Yellow. Well, I certainly took my time getting this episode out, but hey, not too bad considering that the world seems to have turned into Raccoon City. As always, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a thumbs up, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. Stay safe, and until next time, keep playing retro.